Welcome inside the RX Muscle Studios for another episode of Ask Dave, better known as hashtag Ask Dave, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. $35 off 57-serve Isolives between now and tomorrow night. And of course, our running special Holiday 20 for 20% off on speciesnutrition.com. 30-minute question and answer with Dave Palumbo. This is the final episode of the year 2015. Hard to believe, and what a year it's been in the bodybuilding industry. And here we are winding down in the year 2015. Simple enough. If you want to join in on the show with your questions, you can ask them on the Muscle Central forum on rxmuscle.com. If you're not already a member, it is free to register. You can join us on our YouTube channel. You can ask the questions to the right-hand side of the video player or on one of our social media platforms, on our official Facebook page, our Instagram page, or you can tweet your questions using hashtag AskDave. As we now bring in Dave Palumbo. Dave, end of the road for 2015.
Sid, did you say $35 off? $35 off the big Isolize?
The big one.
Do you know that they break my balls in this office all the time about taking free stuff? I own the company, and every time I go to take a bottle, they're like, another bottle? So I'm going to buy with that cost, with that price, I'm going to go buy some protein in our store a little later today. But yeah, it is the end of 2015. The year went super fast. Baby's still not there yet. Get the due date January 10th, so we don't know. It could happen any day now. We're just counting the days down to fatherhood and the motherhood in Amanda's sense. And I want to say that, I had a good year. I felt that the bodybuilding world kind of raised itself up a notch or two. I felt that the level of competition was excellent this year. I felt like the camaraderie was there. I really enjoyed the shows. I know with the whole Lee Thompson, fiasco at the end of the year around the Olympia time, people were asking what's going to happen. I think the bodybuilding world, really bonded together, and you can see that there is some really good brotherhood in the IFBB NPC ranks, and I think that 2016 is going to be the best year ever, especially with the advent of the new classic physique division. I'm excited to see that. It's something I've been calling for, and the great thing about the bodybuilding is you never know what's going to happen. There's always some kind of new drama. Obviously, Kai Green entering the Arnold Classic this year, adding a tremendous amount of excitement. And we don't know what will happen, and that's the speculation part of it is the best. I hope everyone saw the Heavy Muscle TV show with John Romano, myself and Chris Aceto. We did a great year in wrap-up, all three of us together for the first time, maybe ever. And so that was really exciting as well. And, we have a lot of great programming. I know a lot of sites out there, Sid, don't have anything going on during these holiday weekends, don't have anything going on in the month of January because it's a dead season. There's really nothing going on. But, here at RX Muscle, I always, advocated pushing harder during these off times because people want programming to watch. They want the Q&As. They want to see, Iron Debate. They want to see all the variety shows, the interview shows we do, and the radio. And we never stop here. We never take a weekend off, and we always find a way to make it happen. And hopefully you guys respect that. Hopefully you enjoy the programming. Hopefully you enjoy to hate the programming if you so want to, and to tell us about it because we really have no ego here whatsoever. And I hope you guys like the new Muscle Puppet Show because it was the first episode showcased on our YouTube channel and on our rxmuscle.com website, of course. And a lot of people have been sending me script ideas, so keep them coming. I'm going to have to buy some new puppets. I only have 2 puppets right now, so I got to get more puppets so that we can have a new, for our second episode that John Romano will be scripting, we have to, I might need some more, I guess you could say, ammunition, so to speak. But I'm looking forward to the 2016 year.
We have a ton of questions already coming in, again, on our YouTube channel, and then especially on our Instagram page, which is always a hot source for questions. We're going to start tonight's episode on our YouTube page and start up with Gurdeep Singh. Dave, what should be the first ever AA stack for a 30% body fat with newbie gains and aimed at losing fat and maintaining lean mass?
30% body fat is very high. That's 30%. I mean, that's obese for a man or a woman, for that matter. As far as anabolic steroids don't burn fat, so I think a lot of people make that mistake. I wouldn't use any anabolic steroids if I was 30% overweight because that's going to raise your blood pressure a little bit and it could make your health worse. So I would suggest dropping some of that body fat, at least 10% of that, And that means, going on a low-carb diet, doing some cardio, get your conditioning into respectable shape. I have to assume if you're 30% body fat, you haven't been working out either. Get to the gym, build up a routine for at least 8 to 10 weeks. Once you get that going, then you might consider using maybe some Anavar and some Winstrol, which is a nice intro stack, something that if you've never used any kind of anabolics before, they won't give you any side effects. You won't have to take any aromatase inhibitors. They're not going to suppress your natural production, and then progress from there. But at 30% body fat, you got to drop some of that body fat first.
We're getting a couple of questions about your reference to the Heavy Muscle TV show. I think you meant the radio show, correct?
Yeah, Heavy Muscle Radio.
Yeah.
Sorry, I confused them. Heavy Muscle Radio, which is our Monday night show that we've been running consecutively since 2009. Never missed a weekend. The show I do with John Romano, Chris, and myself, and we usually have segments, but we all did it together. So this was the end of the year show. We do the best of 2015. I think you guys will love it.
And of course, that is available on rxmuscle.com. Let's go to Saul Martinez. Let's say I took anabolics at a young age for about 5 years on and off. Is there any chance of ever coming back to normal, or do I need TRT forever?
I thought I needed TRT forever, and then I decided I wanted to have a baby. So I went off all the anabolics I was on, even my hormone replacement, and I took HCG and Clomid, and I got my wife pregnant, and I never went back on. And I've tested myself, and my testosterone is in the high 6s. High 600s, that is, not 6s. And I feel great. So I guess the old adage that if you take testosterone, it will suppress you permanently is not true. Now, in some people, it is. But I'm a big believer of a lot of people, when they hit 40 and they go get tested and they find out they have a testosterone of 150, I believe a lot of those people have had it their whole life already. And they just didn't know it. They had a low testosterone. They never got tested, because who the hell gets tested when you're young? You get used to whatever your natural levels are. I probably had high levels my whole life. I was a decent natural bodybuilder. I put on some decent size. I always recovered well and stuff. So, I think it's very genetically determined. So to answer your question, no, I don't believe you will permanently suppress yourself. Might it happen? It might happen, but I don't think it's a definitive.
Let's go to Psycho Sports Dad. This show is vile. I would rather eat at Chipotle. Very nice. Question, when do you recommend low-intensity cardio separate from weight training, i.e. early AM, or immediately after lifting?
The 2 times you should do cardio when it's the most effective is in a depleted state. And that happens to be first thing in the morning or after you weight train, because after you weight train, you've depleted glycogen from the muscles. So to me, either time is fine. It doesn't really matter. What happens usually is when I'm working with people, if their cardio levels get up to a certain amount, maybe over 70 minutes, I have them start splitting it. So they'll do it in the morning first thing, and then they'll do it after they train as well. So, but if you're not doing high cardio, it doesn't really matter when you do it.
Let's go to Micah or Mika BB. What do you think about the low-carb breakfast for controlling body fat and then adding carbs around your workout? I've tried that for 3 days, and my strength got lower. Do you think that could be the reason?
Yeah, I'm not a big believer in segregating carbohydrate meals, like eating a lot at some meals and then nothing at the other meals. I like to spread them out throughout the day. I think you get a much better blood sugar spread. I think your blood sugar is more stable. I think your glycogen storage is more stable in the body, and you have better energy. Remember, Chris Aceto said it best. The workout that you're doing right now has to do not with what you ate before you got to the gym, but what you ate 2 days ago, because that's where the glycogen gets stored. So don't start doing these kooky eating habits, okay? Try to if you're going to eat 200 grams of carbs a day, or you're going to eat 100 grams of carbs a day, spread them out throughout the day. Doesn't mean you have to have them at every meal, but I would at least have them every other meal, okay? Don't start doing like 100 grams at the pre-workout and 100 grams post-workout and don't eat the rest of the day. You're going to feel terrible.
Let's go to Newton Chavan. Apologies for mispronouncing your name. When are you calling Tom Platz and or Arnold on the show?
I'd love to have Arnold on the show. I don't know what the problem or the impediment. I guess maybe Arnold doesn't like me. I don't know what the case is, but Arnold's a tough interview to get. You have to go through a lot of hoops and hoopla. I have been promised an interview with Arnold in 2016. I'm not going to say by who because I don't want to put him on the spot in case he changes his mind or something happens. Let's see if it happens at some point. Maybe at the Arnold Classic 2016. Who knows? You never know. As far as Tom Platz go, I have to make a list. I have so many lists everywhere. I have a list in my iPhone. I have lists on my computer. I have lists of pieces of paper shoved in my pocket, and things come up. So sometimes I don't get to everything, but eventually we will get Tom Platz on the show. I promise you.
Let's go to Diesel. Dave, what do you think about Phil Herron saying don't use military presses for shoulders?
I built very big delts. Shoulder pressing behind the neck. A lot of people say it's not good for your shoulders. I have terrible shoulder arthritis now. They may be right. I don't know if that's what caused it, but I know guys that are still doing shoulder presses behind the neck to this day and have no shoulder problems. I believe that, I have very, very loose shoulders. Some people call it double jointed. I have a lot of movement in my joint, which is great for flexibility. Terrible if you're lifting heavy weights because you get grinding in the joints because the joints move around too much. Having said that, shoulder presses do build muscle. They do build muscle because you can push a lot of weight. When I was trying to be the biggest and best bodybuilder I could be, I would do any exercise that would build muscle. And to me, that was a mass building exercise that I felt worked well for me. I was never a good dumbbell overhead presser. I couldn't stabilize them, maybe because I have long arms. So for me, the barbell press really worked well. For someone else, it might not. If you can get away with not doing barbell presses and still build big shoulders, then you're probably better off than I was. But I found that worked really well. Later in my career, I found that side laterals, using on a machine, one arm at a time, really helped develop and shape my delts muscles. But I truly believe the military presses early in the career built the mass.
Let's go to Alpha Dog Nutrition. Dave, what do you think of Rich Piana's 4-month challenge to gain 30 pounds of muscle, including his crazy cycle he posted on his Instagram?
So many people have asked me about Rich Piana and his cycle he posted and his quest to gain 30 pounds. First of all, I like Rich Piana. He's a good guy. I don't hang out with him all the time. He lives in California, but if he probably lived around the block from me, we'd probably go to eat and be friends. I'm sure of it. I just know because he calls it like it is, and he's a real guy. I like that about him. I also, and I've told this to Tad the Diet Coach too, I think Rich is nuts. For at his age, still pushing the envelope like that is insane. I don't know why he's doing it or what he's got to prove to anyone. I guess he's making money from being a big freak at this point. But you know what, Rich? If you stopped being a big freak now, they'd still buy you stuff because they like your rhetoric. They like what you say. They like how honest you are, and you got the following already. I would back it down. Just like I told Tad the Diet Coach, I said, Tad, you don't need to compete anymore. You're a famous guy. People know who you are. You have a lot of clients. You make good money. At some point, you have to say enough is enough. And like I said, maybe Rich is doing it for shock value. Maybe he's not even doing the cycle he is saying he's doing, just to shock people so they'll listen. Because those Rich Piana cycle videos, I've seen 1 million people talking about them. They get a million hits, these things. I can't even believe that people are so consumed with what Rich Piana is taking. But so be it. I pat you on the back, Rich. You're a great marketer of yourself. And I should only be as crazy as you are, because you know what? I'd probably have 10 times the followers I do. Having said that, Rich, I want to see you live a long, healthy life. No need to do anything or impress any of us anymore. We're impressed already, and that's my rant.
You are watching Ask Dave on RxMuscle.com, brought to you by Species Nutrition. The best overall question of the best I Hate This Show gets Nitralized pre-workout by Species Nutrition. Again, go to speciesnutrition.com. Holiday 20% off between now and essentially tomorrow night, which is going to be New Year's Eve. We now go to our Instagram question. Again, our handle is official_RxMuscle, and we go to Benedou14. Dave, I hate this Sorry, just got a very important text from Mr. Jim Mannion. Very nicely done. Question, would there be any benefits to using growth hormone for only a month or two? If so, would off-season or pre-contest be better?
Look, if you're going to use growth hormone for a month or two because that's all you can afford, don't waste your money, okay? If you're just doing it because you want to see if you can get a little growth and it has nothing to do with the money aspect of it, I mean, you could experiment with it. Look, if you take growth hormone for one day, you're going to get results. You might not see them, you might not realize them, but you're going to get results, okay? So my thing to people is, I know guys who come to me and say, you know what, I don't have a lot of money. What if I do 4 weeks of GH? Will that help my bodybuilding goals? I'm like, no, save your money. If you can't do it the right way, don't do it. The longer you're on growth hormone, the better it works. Low dose, long duration. I've said it for years. I know no one listens to me. People think you got to take 18 IUs a day. You take 2 to 4 IUs a day, and 2 is plenty, believe me, to get results. The longer you can stay on 2 IUs per day, the better your muscle gains and the more permanent they will be. I promise you, have patience. Patience. If you gain a quarter of a pound of muscle a week over 50 weeks, that's a lot of muscle for the year. You should only be so lucky to do that. And I guarantee you, at 2 IUs per day, you can do that.
Let's go to Neo Near. He has a 2-part question. 1, at what water temperature is creatine destroyed? So you want to answer that one first?
I don't know, but you don't want to put creatine in warm water or hot water, okay? Because I know it helps dissolve it better, but it could break it down a little more. Now, I don't know what the smoke point would be if you want to compare it to an oil. I have no idea what that is. I'm sure if it's just a little warm, it's fine. When you start getting into hot water, I have a feeling it's gonna degrade the creatine a little faster. Obviously, you don't want to put it in anything warmer than what your body tissues would be, obviously. So if your body is 98.6, whatever, I guess you can go up to that theoretically, right? Because it's going to get in your bloodstream at that temperature. It shouldn't break down. Obviously, you don't want to leave it in there for a long period of time as well, because that could be a problem. I wouldn't I wouldn't put it in my coffee if that's what you're asking me. That's a little too hot.
Let's go to Matt Fritzler, 95, good friend of the show. I hate this show so much, I would rather watch Darth Lord Blackman beat Sid and Johnny Styles in a lightsaber duel, so they would both have to find Jedi Master Dave to take down the Y-Cutback Empire. Nicely done. My question is, how important do you think it is for younger people around 20 to still take basic health supplements such as a multivitamin, a fish oil, a mineral supplement, ECT?
I think it's the most, I've said this before, it's the most important thing you could do. If you're sitting down and saying, you know what, I have this much money to spend on supplementation, what should I buy? And I've said this before, maybe some of you guys out there don't watch the show on a regular basis. Multivitamin, multi-mineral, high potency, chelated mineral product, most important thing you could take. You want to take my v-mineralyze? So be it. I'm not pushing it on you, but it is the best one out there. Okay, it's the highest quality, most absorbable form out there. You can compare it to any of the other multivitamins out there. You're not going to get a better version. Same thing with essential fats. Super important, because if you don't get the essential fats your body requires, just like if you don't get the essential amino acids your body requires, you're not going to grow and repair muscle. So once again, I made Omega-Lyze purposely for the fact of getting enough omega-6 and omega-3 fats, the right kinds, in the right dosages. It's a no-brainer. Those 2 supplements should be in every person's shelf. Not because I make them and I want to make money off it. I put it out there because I know this is what the bodybuilder needs. I take them myself. I made supplements for Species Nutrition that I would take myself. Because I said to myself, I'd have to be a fool to make supplements that will just make me money and that I can't even take on my own, and then I got to buy someone else's. That's why I did that. And that's why I advocate my own, because I know that I take them and I know this is what the bodybuilder needs. I've been doing this for 25 years. I have an extensive background in from college to medical school. I've done the bodybuilding thing myself. I've competed. I know what works. I know what the body requires. That's why I can call myself an expert. I'm not the smartest guy out there. There's plenty of people smarter than me. But I know, practically speaking, what the person needs. Those 2 supplements should be what you spend your money on first.
Let's go to MBell971. Hate this show. When coming off an off-season cycle, do you prefer to come completely off or stay on a low dose of test?
I don't know what people get wrong about the term off. What don't they understand? Off means off. Everything. Off. When you're on, you're on. You're off, you're off. You don't do it half-assed. It's all or none, okay? When you finish a long cycle or after a contest, you got to clean yourself out for 8 to 10 weeks. Once you do that, knock yourself out. Then you can go back on, knowing that your receptors are better, your internal organs have been cleansed and cleaned, and you're going to get very good results. As a matter of fact, speaking of detox, a lot of people ask me all the time, and I tell them I have a 3-week cleansing detox program that I've developed. I've said it before. If you're new out there and you would like a copy of it, I provide it for free. Just email me at huge285@aol.com and I will send it to you. And I guarantee you do this for 3 weeks, you'll feel like $1 million when you're done. But when you're off anabolic steroids, do not take any anabolic steroids. There's no bridging, there's no gapping, there's no nothing. Off.
Again, you're watching Ask Dave on RxMuscle.com, brought to you by Species Nutrition. If you're watching for the first time on our YouTube channel, subscribe on the button below. You're not going to miss any of our videos, any of our shows, or any of our daily Muscle in the Morning news segments. As we go to Curtis Spania. I hate this show so much, I would rather steal a hubcap from Dave's car and be arrested by Officer Farah and having my rights explained to me in astronomical metaphors by Kai Green while watching Officer Farah shooting darts on a picture of Chris Aceto, which hangs on a tree on which he carved in George plus Rami, number 4 life. Curtis Spania, you're from Sweden. Otherwise, I would have told you to give me your email address and we would have sent you Neutralize. We'll work something out.
Our international viewers
we got to come up with
the most creativity.
It's unbelievable. My question is, I want to maintain a lean physique year-round, and I wonder what degree of leanness you consider being unhealthy, and he puts in parentheses natural versus on TRT. I have a medium to slow metabolism. Thanks, guys. Much love from Sweden.
You know what I decided we should do for the international people, Sid?
We got to do something.
Why don't we offer gift certificates? Like if you win the thing, we give you like $30 of free supplements on Species Nutrition. Obviously, you got to pay the shipping, but if you want to buy other stuff, we'll give you $30 free. I think
are we carried in Sweden?
I don't know if we have a big draw, but I think if people want to order off speciesnutrition.com, we can give them like a $30 gift certificate.
So you know what? With that said, then Curtis Spania, email me, sid@speciesnutrition.com, and we will set you up $30 off your next purchase off speciesnutrition.com.
Okay. Let's get back to the question.
Yes.
What is a healthy body fat to walk around with? To me, for men, you should be definitely under 15% body fat. I prefer under 12% body fat in the off season. Okay? For women, 15 is really what I'd like. Under 17 is probably better, more realistic, because women tend to hold a little more fat and water because of estrogen. But ideally, if you really are serious about what you do, under 10% if you're a man, under 12% if you're a woman. But it's unless you have a terrific metabolism, it's unrealistic to believe that.
Let's go to Big Pete Labs. Hey, Dave, 2 questions. Where did you go here? 2 questions for you. I take Acifex for acid reflux and have for years. Is there a chance taking this medication may make it harder to break down and absorb the nutrients from my food? I feel bloated at times and wonder if it's a digestion issue due to lack of acid. Is there a way I can naturally fix this? Also, I have issues with my bowels. I know you just went off about hemorrhoids. I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables and drink a ton of water. Somehow, I still have issues with dryness. Could this also be related to the medication? Thanks, and I hate this show more than words can express because you never help me and when you answer my question. That's pretty mean.
Well, fruits and vegetables are not going to give you enough fiber, okay, right off the bat. You need to take a fiber supplement. You don't have to take mine. Mine happens to be the best out there because of the science we put into it. But you got to take a psyllium-based fiber supplement, okay, twice a day. That will solve your bowel problems. Your acid reflux problems are the worst thing you can do is take acid blockers. Okay? Because now you're going to inhibit your digestion of protein, without a doubt. And that's exactly why you're probably getting bloated. Okay? If you have an overproduction of acid in your body, the best thing you can do is either, right off the bat, I would get Bragg's apple cider vinegar. And I would shake up that bottle, and I would take a tablespoon 3 to 5 times a day in 8 ounces of water. That will cure your acid reflux. However, if you're continuously producing acid, there means that there's an overacidification of the body, okay? Which you might want to consider doing the detox I talked about earlier in this program. Once again, emailing me at huge285@aol.com. I'll send you the detox. It will help you give the body, the organs of digestion, the rest they need to get rid of all the toxins. You follow the protocol, and it works beautifully. But I think you got to combine everything. And the good thing about the detox is that it talks about the apple cider in it, and it also talks about the fiber and the need for fiber. once again, you can only build and repair muscle as efficiently as you can remove waste from your body. When waste starts building up and causing toxic, side effects, you're not going to repair muscle. You're not going to burn fat adequately, and you're going to feel terrible. And then you're experiencing this acid reflux and this colonic issue, I guess you could say, discomfort because of that fact.
Let's go back to our YouTube questions and go to Hayden Letts. Dave, in your keto diet outline, you recommend one cheat meal a week. Does this meal take your body out of ketosis, or does the overall lack of carbs in one's diet prevent this from happening?
When you're in a strong ketosis or ketogenic state, okay, what invariably happens, okay, when you do a cheat meal, which has a high carb content, is you come out of ketosis. But you don't come out of ketosis, okay, for 3 days like it normally takes you to get into ketosis to begin with. Normally it takes 72 hours of carb restriction, okay? Usually you go back into ketosis after about 8 to 12 hours. So if you eat your cheat meal on Saturday night, by Sunday morning you're probably feeling a little woozy in the brain. You go to the gym, you work out, you're back in ketosis. That's why it's important that you don't cheat the whole day. It's one meal. Okay, one meal will not take you out of ketosis that long, okay? Because your body will metabolize those carbs and then goes right back into ketosis.
Let's go to Corey Gaines. Actually, before we do that, because we're seeing some chatter, and of course, when you watch RX Muscle, you see the man they call the technician on many of our programs. And Dave, today is his birthday, so we want to send out a special birthday shout-out to Chris, the technician, Aceto.
I was hoping my son would be born on the technician's birthday so that we could have a dual celebration, but it didn't happen. It didn't work out that way. Although the day's not over yet, so I better not jinx myself.
Let's go to Corey Gaines. Do you think it's possible to be natural at 234 pounds, 5'10", 15% body fat at 20 years old? That's what I am, and many find it hard to believe that.
I believe anything, to be honest with you, because everyone's genetics are different. I'm sure Big Ramy, before he ever took a drug, was enormous. Okay, I know, guys. I remember in 1994 or 1992, I competed at a show in New York City. It was called it wasn't the Eastern USA. I think it was like the East Coast or something like that. It was something show like that. It was an NPC show in New York City, and I saw a 19-year-old kid take his clothes off and had the biggest legs they'd ever seen. His name turned out to be Kai Green, and he won the teen division of the show I was in. I came in, I think, second in the heavyweight class. They had no super heavyweight back then. I was only about 212, and I said, this kid has got some future. And he was 100% natural back then. So I do believe it. I believe you could be that. I think it's a rarity in our society, but there are people that have the genetic propensity to put on a lot of muscle. And 15% body fat is not that low, so I believe it.
Let's go back to our Instagram questions and go to ZN East. Dave, this show sucks so bad, I'd rather circumcise myself with a rusted pair of shears and risk serious mutilation than listen to this trash. How important is posture in eliminating lower back pain? I usually feel it most on squats and deadlifts.
I'm a big believer in people who complain about pain when they squat, whether it be their lower back, their groin, their knees. I hear a lot of different complaints. Most of the time, it's due to improper foot biomechanics. Because remember, the feet are the pedestal with which you stand on. A lot of bodybuilders have flat feet or fallen arches. If you don't have fallen arches, if you put a lot of weight on your back, your arches flatten out anyway. That means that the feet are not sitting properly, and you're torquing the wrong muscles. You're working the wrong muscles. The major moving muscles that should be engaging are not being used, and you're using assister muscles. And then that causes tendonitis and all kinds of weird, quirky injuries. The first thing I do with my athletes is send them to the podiatrist and tell them to get a pair of custom-made orthotics. It's an insert that goes in your shoe. It's molded to your foot. It's not one of these one-size-fits-all you buy in the store. You put them in your shoes. You wear them all the time. And you know what? It solves 99% of the problems. I have a client, I'm not going to mention who it is. I've been telling him to get him for 2 years. He's been complaining to me. He has weak leg development, and the rest of him is enormous. And, he's like, I can't afford them. I'm like, with what you spend on supplements and food, cut that back for 2 weeks and you'll be able to afford them. They're only a couple $100. So that's one of the training devices that every person should get as a bodybuilder. Custom orthotics, whether you're a man or a woman, get them, put them in your shoes, and wear them all the time.
You go from why cut back to cut that back.
That's right.
Let's go to Lausta86. Dave, no words can describe how bad this show sucks. Dave, is it okay to run Tren A and Tren E together? Would it stay in your system better that way? Thank you guys for having the show. Love watching it every week.
Well, think about what you said. Tren enanthate, which is a long-acting trenbolone ester, and Tren acetate, which is a fast-acting ester, and you want to know if it'll stay in your system more reliably. Well, the long-acting trenbolone will stay in your system the most reliably. You don't even need the fast-acting one. Just take the long-acting one. Once it kicks in and gets into your system, if you continuously take it, you'll have very even levels of it. The benefit of using Tren acetate, okay, especially pre-contest, is that it acts very quickly, and it seems, to me at least, seems to have more dramatic effects on the body. I see better results. It also causes higher blood pressure, and it also causes anxiety and makes it hard to sleep at night because it's so quick acting. So depending on what your temperament is, and off season, it might be a better idea to use the long acting, and then pre-contest, you might want to use the fast acting.
Let's go to Dek Niliev. Hey Dave, if I have 2 shows a week apart, what should I be doing in the gym for that week? What I do normally is what Chris Aceto wrote in his book, and that is 2 days lightweight exercises for each body part to get rid of all the glycogen, then 2 days of rest, and when I start loading carbs back, there's only one very light pump day at the gym. Should I repeat the same thing in the week between the shows?
Yeah, usually I tell people to just repeat what you did the week before. Okay, personally, the way I do it is if you have a Saturday show, starting the week before, the last leg workout is done the Saturday or Sunday before, and then that Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever the next body parts. I divide the body into 3 parts because the legs are already done, and those are the next three workouts. I don't believe in doing the whole body workouts. You don't need to. And because those 3 days you're going to be on lower carbs anyway, because you're going to carb deplete 3 days out. Then the 3 days before the show, or 2 or 3 days before the show, you're going to put the glycogen and the carbs back in, and you're going to carb up. And those are the days, the Thursday and Friday, you're not going to train at all because you want to make sure you glycogen load and the muscles heal. That's the simple formula. And if you do 10 shows week to week to week, you're going to repeat the same formula. You do your show on Saturday, Sunday you go to the gym, you do your last leg workout, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday you do your last 3 upper body workouts, and then repeat the whole cycle. And it works every time. There's no sense in starting to do kooky, crazy things.
Alpha Dog Nutrition. Dave doesn't off Kai Green win at the Arnold Classic.
I think an off Kai Green is going to have a very tough time against a massive, ripped Justin Compton. I think that he's going to be in for a big surprise if he shows up a little off. I think Justin is surging. He's put on a lot of size. He gets super ripped. I think he's got that young muscle, tight skin. I think that Kai's going to have to be at his best to win this show. Matter of fact, I think if Kai's off, I think even Branch Warren will beat him if Branch comes in crazy, freaky hard. There's a lot of good guys in that lineup. Juan Morel. So Kai has got to be at his best at this show if he's going to win. I think if he comes in off, which, I've never seen Kai that off, but if he comes in really off, he's going to be in for a big surprise. This is no joke, this Arnold lineup.
Got a good question here from Arnold Teach. Sorry, Dave, don't have a hate this show comment, but I would like to ask, when you are viewing your client's progress, do you go based on what you see, or do you ever take out the caliper and scale?
I'm pretty good at what I see. I've been doing this long enough. I've seen pictures long enough that unless they're putting filters on the pictures, which no one in their right mind would do, I can kind of tell if the person's losing weight or they're looking better. What I like to do is I have a chart that I send to all my clients, and they fill out the chart with stats and what they're, not necessarily measurements, but like how much cardio they're doing, how much weight they lost from the week before. So I know if they look better in the pictures and I know they lost a couple pounds, then that's all that I can ask for. Then that's a great week. If they gained weight or they didn't lose weight and the pictures don't look better, then I know I got to make changes. So once again, only a couple people have bamboozled me with pictures in the sense that they looked so much better in person or they looked so much worse in person. It only happened 1 or 2 times in my entire life, and it was just because the pictures they were taking were crappy. Now with the phone cameras, they're so good, they're HD. You get some really good. And if I'm questioning whether what I'm seeing is real, I usually have them do a video for me, and then you can see them moving dynamically, and then I can tell if they're really in shape or not.
Shaz Cord wants to know, where is Dennis James? And we get this question a lot. Will we ever get Dennis James back on RX Muscle?
I don't know. He's insulted. He's insulted that I let Beta Badai come on the show. He told me that he would never come on the show again if I got him on, and I don't do well with threats. I don't deal well with that. I felt that everyone gets a chance to give their viewpoint, and I invited him back on if he wanted to dispute whatever Bader said, or even debate him directly on the show. And I'm sure Dennis will come around. I mean, I still consider him a friend, and I like Dennis. And if he's mad at me, that's fine. I could accept that. It's not going to affect my life one way or another. But at some point, I'm sure there'll be a topic of debate come up that Dennis is an expert on in some capacity. I'll ask him to come on. Hopefully, he'll come on.
Let's go to our good friend Farabi_K. This show is so bad that every time I try to watch it, I end up ignoring the show and start texting with my phone, right? My question is, does Proviron protect your testicles from shrinking when on a cycle? What does Proviron do? And do I need it when I'm on a cycle?
It does not protect your testicles from shrinkage whatsoever. Back in the day, we thought Proviron, because Bill Phillips told us this, we thought Proviron was an estrogen receptor blocker that blocked estrogen receptors to help harden you up before a show. Because remember, there were no real aromatase inhibitors out there. So you had to block estrogen receptors, so we used Nolvadex, but everyone hated Nolvadex because we knew it inhibited IGF-1 production, so we like to use Proviron. To me, Proviron is really a non-anabolic compound. It's just androgenic, which means it will make you harder, but it competes with the same receptors that the other anabolic steroids compete with, or I should say work on. So to me, I feel like it gets in the way of the stuff that's really doing something. With Trenbolone and the halotestins out there on the market that are so high in androgens that don't aromatize, why would you ever need a Proviron? I have no idea.
Let's go see if there's anything, or we have a question. I buried Triple H in WrestleMania 22, and now I go to bury Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 32. If you want some, come get some. All right, there. Let's see if we have something else here. Vert Real. How potent is the natural growth hormone releasing effect by combining 100 mcg of GHRP2 or ipamorelin with 100 mcg of mod GRF129, aka CJC1295, without DAC, compared with Pharma GH?
Look, there's a million growth hormone releasing peptides on the market, from the GHRP6, GHRP3, ipamorelin, CJC1295, hexarelin. The list goes on and on and on. And nothing, I repeat, nothing compares with taking real Pharma GH. It's like trying to take the analogy of saying taking a shot of HCG will do the same thing as 500 milligrams of testosterone injected would. Just not going to do the same thing. You can't stimulate your body to produce enough GH that would be comparable to what your body can, I guess you could experience by taking an exogenous injection of it.
That is going to do it for this episode of Ask Dave, the final one for the year 2015. On behalf of the entire RX Muscle team, I want to say thank you for all the support you've provided us. It's been a wild, crazy 2015. We've done a lot, we've grown a lot, and it's just great to have everybody along for the ride. Dave, you want to chime in?
I want to say one more thing, because a lot of people, I had talked about the new product that I'm marketing now on my website. Bill Llewellyn invented this product. It's called Roid Test. It tests your anabolic steroids to see if what you got in there is really what you think you got. They're finally out. I'm the exclusive United States distributor. If you go to davepalumbo.com, you can buy the Roid Test. There's 3 different things you can buy. You can buy or 4 things, I should say. The main tester kit, which comes with the color chart, 3 testers, and the UV light which involves one of the tests. It needs a UV light, and it comes in a nice case. Everyone should buy that first, and then you can buy the refills. The refills are for the multi-test kit, which will test everything basically. And it has a color chart. You match it up, it'll tell you what you got in your product. Then there's 2 separate testers, one for Anadrol, and then there's one for Anavar and Winstrol. So you can confirm what you got is what you got. Those are real specific tests. They're very reasonably priced. If you do take anabolic steroids, which I'm not advocating anyone should or shouldn't, especially with today's market with underground labs, if you want to see what you got is really what you got, go purchase one of these kits. I'm telling you, it's an ingenious invention. I can't thank Bill Llewellyn enough for putting this thing together. I'm actually getting him to work on making one for growth hormone because people don't know what the hell they're taking as far as their growth hormone goes. But for now, we can test every anabolic steroid known to man on there. Check them out on DavePalumbo.com. And guys, subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And I hope you enjoyed all our programming here in 2015. 2016 is going to be better than ever.
We are going to be back and better than ever in 2016. Again, it's a two-way conversation. You ever have any suggestions or guests that you want to see on our show, you can message us on the Muscle Central Forum, on our official Facebook page. And again, we are here for you. We're here to provide content throughout the course of the calendar year, not just the contest season. For Johnny Styles, Dave Palumbo, and everybody here at RX Muscle, I'm Sadiq Faruqi. Happy New Year's.